Hey everyone, welcome back to a regular video instead of a, a YouTube short. I made about as many of those as I could stand. Trying to make them cute, but anyway, back to a regular update. Quick update on Naaman, and then I'm going to get into the topic of bearded dragons and their emotions. If you can tell in the video, she is about to shed, and it's working its way up her body, and there is a line right here where she's got color versus no color. A little bit of shed around her face too. I just think it's really cute. She's uncomfortable. She's not super happy. But Naaman is doing really well. And I've noticed the more dubias I feed her and Murray, the more they're shedding. I think that's kind of a telltale sign that dubias are pretty healthy for them, and it tells their body, hey, we're getting what we need. Let's go ahead and make some new scales. That's been working really well. I tend to just give Murray dubias once a week. On Saturdays, I just let him have a lot of them, as many as he wants. And Naaman, I give several times a week because she's not a year old yet, so maybe 4 times a week she gets dubias. The colony's going really well. If it's not dubias, it's some other kind of protein, either the crunchy stuff from Flukers, you know, without the pellets in there. The pellets are unhealthy for the most part. Or sometimes it's Rapashi's Beardy Buffet. So she gets protein more often. And now I'm going to talk about bearded dragon emotions. It's funny because if you've only had one dragon only for a few years, you might think you understand the scope of their emotions and what all they can go through. Those of you who've had multiple dragons for many years, you're probably going to have more of an experience on seeing them when they're upset or when they're sad. Animals can go into depression just like people can. And I was hoping she would move around more for this video, but we'll just watch her there. She's sort of relaxing. She's not basking, but a friend of mine and I were talking about she rehomed one of her dragons. Not rehomed really. Her kids graduated from school and, you know, got their own place and came back for the dragons. They got 2 initially, and she's been taking care of her kids' dragons while they were in college. And I've gotten to know them through that. They had their tanks near each other. There was a male and female, and the male was very liked watching over the female a lot. And when she separated them into 2 separate tanks, that was very upsetting for the male. And that was always an issue as much as I've known them the past few years. Well, the kids graduated and got just 1 dragon because their landlord will only allow so many pets. And the 1 dragon, I think, is 1 too many pets, so that's kind of a secret. But the male dragon was left behind with the original, you know, where he's been his whole life, but the female is now not there next to his tank. And this might be something you've experienced, or maybe somebody's rehomed a dragon and now you've got this new dragon. They can get depressed. They can stop eating. They can go in their cave. They can do all kinds of things where they're not their normal self. And I guess I'm doing this video to encourage you to understand they do have a lot of emotions. They're like little people. You know, there's not just a short range of emotions. They do miss their owners. Even another friend who has monitors, he took a trip, came back, and they were very, very excited to see him. They missed him. They didn't always act like that, but over time, lizards are very slow to attach to people, but over time they do. And they do get very emotional if they're rehomed or their routine is changed, or if anything can come up. And I've seen this recently, and it's definitely an eye-opener, because our lives change. People do different things. Like every 5 years, you might have a different job scenario, or you might move from one house to another, or get a dog, or all kinds of things. You might have a kid, or the kid might move out. Our lives change. Like, we live a long time, and we like things to be different every now and then. That's okay. But even in dogs and cats, when you move and rehome, there's an adjustment period. So what I've learned with my dragons, Murray and I were very close. His tank was right next to my desk. He watched me all day and all night. Not all night, but the part of the night that I was awake. And when I got Rose, that was a huge disruption to our connection. And I did not realize that, and for a long time. What I should have done is, anytime I got Rose out to do something, I should have then got Murray out to do something, because he watched me do a lot of things with Rose and not a lot of things with him. And Rose was with us 2 years, and I am still working very hard to get that bond back with Murray, and it's taking time. As emotional as I've been about losing Rose, it's another thing to lose a bond with Murray and have to work so hard to get it back. So I'm trying to get him out of his tank and hang out with him more, like every single day. I'm not just letting him stare out the window, because he loves looking out the window. I mean, there's a barnyard out there with a lot going on all the time. So that's his TV, but I brought in a TV into the room, so when he's basking and not facing the window, he's got something to look at, so he's not bored. I move my laptop over next to his tank sometimes. And I'll show you, I've got Naaman here, and this is my work area, and then Murray's at that window, and he used to be at that window. That was the first window I put him in. And this is my room, pardon the mess, but I have a very small house. I've got 2 windows, and I just didn't want to disrupt things too many times after Rose was gone. Her tank was right there. Naaman was right there. I just kept things kind of the way they were. And, Murray's still there, but sometimes I will sit here for work, and he will bask, and he faces me when he basks, because I have the bulb facing his cave there. So I'll sit here and we'll look at each other, and the bonding is working, but it's taking a long time. Hi, Murray. Hey, sweet boy. So now he's back to turning orange again when I talk to him. And for a while he didn't. He didn't want to look at me. It was kind of devastating. But when he's here basking, he's not looking out the window. He's either looking at my desk, or I will roll in a TV and put it here. So again, pardon the mess. It's a small house. What can you do? So when Rose passed, her tank was right here next to Naaman. In her last day, Naaman saw that she was sick. I mean, it was very obvious. Her colors were different. Naaman went into her cave. And when Rose passed, I was certain that she was gone. That took a while. I brought Naaman out of the cave and let her look at Rose. And she did for a while, and she went back in the cave, and she stayed in the cave for a few days. And I thought, no, I can't let that continue. I got her out, and it took several months for Naaman to understand. Naaman is my little buddy now. And I could put things back where they were and put Murray next to my desk and all of that, but then Naaman would have yet another change to be moved over to the other window. I can't have their tanks too close, or they can smell each other and they freak out, because it's mating season and that's what they do. But look at them like little people, okay? If you lose your best friend and you don't know where they've gone, or you see somebody come and take all their stuff away and then they leave, they walk out of your home and don't come back, that would be sad. And that's understanding. Don't even ask me what she's looking at. I guess it's her reflection. But try to change as little as possible for them. Try to keep things the same as much as you possibly can. If it's just looking out the window the same way, or the position of where you usually sit near their tank, keep things similar. Their world changes and they get sad, but it's taken a few months for Naaman to understand, she's my little buddy, we're good, Rose is gone, but she's here and I'm here. And with Murray, I'm taking him out several times a day and doing things with him, and he's perking back up. It's taking time. But if you've taken in someone else's dragon, you don't know what that dragon used to have. You don't know what the routine was. You don't know what that dragon's missing. When I got Rose, she was missing something. I could tell. But she was distracted by Murray, so that was okay, I guess. But even towards the end, when she couldn't walk around and things, like, her previous owners had her out a lot. They held her a lot, and she did not want me to hold her. So I just tried to make her tank as comfortable as I could, and I just went with what she wanted. And I only pushed that sometimes. Usually if it involved giving her a bath, which she loved, or some kind of worms or treats or something like that, because I knew she was missing her previous families. She had 2 families before me. So don't assume that they don't have feelings or emotions. I swear they're more like people than I ever would have imagined. I can't say that for every reptile, but I can for bearded dragons. So hold them, talk to them, let them know they're loved, and try not to change too many things at a time. Think about it before you put their tank somewhere. If it's near a window, think about where the sun might come in, when you might have to close the curtains, or what might be out there, or if they like to watch a bird feeder, or if they don't. Or if they like the window but want the curtains closed, but where you're going to be, just think about it before you put their tank somewhere for good. And definitely try not to move it to a less active place from an active place in your house, because they like watching us. They like watching activity. They do get bored. And TV for them on during the day can really help with that. Because otherwise it's just quiet and everything's still and they're stuck in a little glass box, and that can be depressing for them. And if they stop eating, that very well could be why. So this is just a suggestion to consider their emotions, and their emotional well-being it's more similar to ours than you might think. So that is it, and I hope everyone's doing well. And if there's anything you want to see a video on, please let me know. I've done so many educational videos that, they're out there for people to find. And at this point, I'm not raising a super tiny baby anymore, so there's not a lot of updates to give. But I'm happy to do a video answering a question or helping with anything dragon related that you've got. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.